The college basketball experience, Patriot League 25-26 season preview edition on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog. Underdog is hooking up new customers. Play just $5 to get $50 in bonus funds when you use our sign-up code TCESGPN. Welcome, everybody, into the college basketball experience, Patriot League season preview for 25-26. Oh, I love this league. This is a great mid-major league. I can't wait to talk about this league because we were pretty on it last year, Noah, and we will hopefully we're on it again. A lot of parity in this league now that Colgate is not as dominant as of last year, that is. They were dominant for about 5-6 years prior to that. But yeah, we'll break down each and every team. We'll give out our power rankings at the end. But first off, I am Moneyline Mac, a.k.a. the former video coordinator for Bob Huggins and Frank Martin. It's Mac tonight, baby. Over here at the College Experience. And joining me to talk college hoops, Patriot Leagues. You guys know him from the great state of Michigan. He is a LeBaron driving, cocktail napkin having Noah B77. What's up, man?
How's it going, Mac and Capper? Once again, it's going to be an absolute joy to talk about the Patriot League because, yes, Mac, we did basically handicap this one to AT last year, and it was one of the more exciting leagues to watch. Just the conference race play out in general. Very fun. Can't wait.
Yep. That it was. And third man in the box from the Windy City. You guys know him from the Underdog Daily Article. He is Cannabis Capper, a.k.a. Cap, what's up, bro?
Mac, it's great to be here. Great to be talking Great Street League. 2025-2026 season. This is the 250th anniversary. 2026 is the 250th birthday of the United States of America, and we are talking Patriot League for 2026. I'm fired up. Cheers to that.
Let's go, baby. Yeah, like Noah said, it was a very balanced league, top to bottom. Bucknell and American tied in the regular season, with the American Eagles getting to the NCAA tournament with the win over Navy. Noah, you want to recap how we were in terms of breaking it down last year?
Yeah, I mean, so coming into this year, there was one coaching change in the Patriot League as Navy's Ed DeShellis hung up the suit. And Jon Perry, after 12 years as an assistant, was promoted to the head coaching role. In the Patriot League, the transfer portal isn't too damning. So a lot of these teams, you're going to see seven of them return more than 50% of their minutes from last year. So that's a nice change compared to looking at other college basketball preseason rosters across the country.
After doing the OVC, it's nice to have a league with no few. I don't think there's any mystery. I didn't see any real mystery teams here, so it's nice to have a league that doesn't have that for the OVC, which had like 4 or 5 mystery teams. So
yeah, Mac mentioned the tie in the regular season standings with American and Bucknell. Like I said, we drilled it to a T. At the end of the year, hopefully we're going to do it again this year, depending on how much time we've got. But we had a futures and Final Four picks episode. And I gave out 5 preseason futures for the conferences, and 2 of those 5 were in this conference because I was just so confident that Colgate wasn't going to win it. It was something like American plus 500, Bucknell plus 850, and all I got was my money back on both of them because they both split. Nobody won outright, which sucked. But a trend that I think leads to success in this league is that in the last 5 years, 12 of the 15 teams that have finished in the top 3 of this league's standings also had one of the Patriot League's top 3 offensive efficiencies per KenPom. So typically, scoring is going to win in this league. A lot of them are slower paced tempo games. So if you're efficient, you're going to tally more into that W column. Also, a random fact for everybody that I don't think contributes to, how you should handicap this every year, is that in 2024, the Patriot League had the worst home win percentage of any conference across the country in Division One at 46.7%. That completely flipped on its head in 25, however, as the Patriot League's home team win percentage was 71.1%, the best in Division One.
Wow, I didn't know that. It makes sense. It did feel like the home teams were dominant last year. So, good nugget there, Bienick. I like that.
Digging deep for these nuggets, mining over there. Dink.
I think I could speak for all of us that we feel more of a connection to this league than other mid-major leagues because of the returning production. It's more old school handicapping versus some of these other ones where it's like, holy shit, every other team has 10 new transfers and it's like kind of a guessing game. You're not really guessing in this league. You know what you're getting, I feel like. Do you guys agree with that?
Yeah. For the most part, yeah. I think there's a couple there's gonna be some variance when we go through the picks, but yeah, I think I would agree with that sentiment.
And when this conference is on the slate each and every Friday, Monday, Wednesday type deal, you're never going to fade the troops, so you don't even have to pick two of the games that are on the slates.
Oh, absolutely. I never fade the troops. That's why I'm on Army money line on Thursday against ECU. So hey, if you want to go check out all our picks, go over at the SGPN App Store for easy access to all our free picks and props over at the SGPN App Store. All right, enough talking about last year. Let's talk about this year, and let's queue up these slides. YouTube.com/The College Experience. There we go. First up on the dock, the defending champs, Duane Simpkins, headed into year number 3, 38-29. Coach Simpkins, a former Maryland Terp under Gary Williams. He's a DMV guy through and through. Stops at Mason, Greensboro, broke through last year. This was a fun team last year. This was a great year for Simpkins and company, and it was fun to see him get to the dance. Noah, what do we think of these old Eagles in 25-26?
I mean, in both seasons so far under Duane Simpkins, American has finished with one of the Patriot League's top 3 offenses. And like I said at the top of the show, that's going to win in this league. And the Eagles also had the second-rated defensive efficiency per KenPom last year. So it's no mystery why they were at atop the standings. Nobody loses more production from last season than American, in my opinion, at least. Greg Jones entered the portal, but does come back to AU to be their only returning starter from 24-25. American has a big roster this year, both with the amount of seats on their bench and in the average size, because this is going to be one of your bigger starting fives in this league. And American typically does pretty well on the glass. Like I said, big pieces departing. Matt Rogers, he also had that injury in the final game of the season in the NCAA tournament, but he's out of eligibility, graduated. This team was very old last year, and that's why you're seeing 4 of these guys graduate and no longer playing. Lincoln Ball played 26 minutes a game last season. Colin Smalls played 26 and a half minutes a game, and Elijah Stevens was a big piece of that backcourt. He played 30 and a half minutes, 10 and a half points per game, 4 assists per game. That's a big piece gone. Like I said, Greg Jones is the one that returns. He played 27 minutes a game last year. Jeff Sprouse was kind of their number one off the bench, played 23 minutes a game. But they're going to more rely on kind of these new guys that were on the team last year stepping into some roles rather than some incoming production. I think the Eagles are going to take a step back. But a big X factor for me on this roster is what the large freshman class can do. There's 9 newcomers that are going to contribute to this team's success in one way or another, whether it's good or bad. So American, I think there's a ceiling here that I think has them contending for a title, but I don't necessarily think that they're one of the few teams that I would have their chances at like higher than 20%.
All right, fair enough. My concern with this team is they kind of lost their heart. Elijah Stevens, huge part. Rogers, huge, meant a ton to this team. They really kind of leaned on their starters, especially in the tournament, in the conference tournament. So I'm kind of concerned about this roster. If they start to pick up injuries early, especially if they start to rely on a lot of the freshmen they have incoming. I think that's a lot of concerns with the roster. Greg Jones being kind of the anchor that kind of ties into last year. I think they're in for a rough season. I really do. They lost so much, and they just lost so much of the so many key components that I think this roster is going to really struggle to find its footing, especially early. Maybe they round into form, but given how young they are in what's mostly a veteran conference, I think this team's really going to struggle in this conference this year.
The one thing, I mean, they should take a step back. In 2 years now, Simpkins has not finished worse than second. So he's been a proven coach. So this kind of seems like a team that you want to back late. Maybe they take a little bit of their growing pains with all the youth here, but I trust Simpkins, man. He's a good coach. This isn't a one-hit wonder anymore. So give me Simpkins and company with that Gary Williams toughness. Next up on the dock, one of my favorite programs, the Army Black Knights, baby. Last year was a good year for the Black Knights. Kevin Kuwit, year number 2, they took a nice jump, 17-16, 10-8 in Patriot League play. Maybe another reason why I like this league so much is I had a bunch of these guys on the tour last year. And I feel like there is more coaching continuity as well. So Kuwit is a Butler guy. He was at Butler before that. So done a good job at Army, and I think that they continue to keep it going here. So, Noah, what do we think of my Black Knights?
We're going to be on the opposite ends of the spectrum with this team, I think, because Kevin Kuwit enters year 3 at Army, and I think they're still kind of seeking their program's identity. In Kuwit's 2 seasons, the Black Knights have finished in or near the cellar, both offensively and defensively, efficiency-wise, and now they lose 4 starters, including their star Jalen Rucker, who was outstanding in his career at Army, even though he took a break in between. And then Josh Scovens also transfers out after a 15-point-per-game season. AJ Spellenbach is also gone after playing 26 minutes, putting up 10.5 and 7 rebounds per game. The biggest cog, the key to this team this year is Ryan Curry. How much he's going to be able to do on his own early, and then maybe if there's some guys that can grow into their roles and help this guy out. But he was stuff in the stat sheet in last season with 12.5 points per game, 4.5 boards, 3.5 assists. He entered the portal but comes back, and that's huge for Army. But in my opinion, the bottom line is there's not a whole lot of experience on this team, and they're going to have to grow into their roles because there's only one guy that returns that played over 10 minutes a game last season. So projecting how this rotation is really going to play out is going to be very tough.
Okay. I got a quote from the coach here. We're young and inexperienced. There's no way around it. We look the opposite of what a college basketball roster looks like with 5 upperclassmen and 13 underclassmen. That's not the way it's going these days. I like our group, but it's very unproven. The way I'm translating that is this is going to be a rough year for the Black Knights.
It may be closer to year 1 than year 2. For
accurate.
Sure.
That's how I'm looking at this team. That they're going to. I'm going to look to fade them early in conference play. I think they might be a team that nobody wants to. One of those teams that nobody wants to play if they start to round into form. But I'm not very high on the chances for the Black Knights in 2025, 2026.
By default, I'll be biased. I'll be higher on Army just because I love Army. But I do agree with you guys. And to put in perspective how hard this job is, Army still has not been to an NCAA tournament in the history of the program. And Bob Knight's coach here, Coach K's coach here, Zach Spiker, who's at Drexel. Like, they've had really good coaches come through this program, and nobody's been able to get over the hump. So Kuwit's got his work cut out for him, but I think he is the right guy. He embraces West Point, and you can tell just having him on the show how much he loves that place. So, yeah, they're going to be chippy this year, late with this young group.
Eventually, I think they get there, but it's not going to be early.
The veteran in the conference is Joe Jones, baby. God, what year is Joe Jones in now? He's been there since 2011, 2012. He's never made the NCAA tournament, which is kind of crazy because I feel like they've always been knocking on the door to get to the tournament. 144 and 102 in Patriot League play. You can see 320 wins all time for his career. He was at Columbia before that. He runs a good program, man. They're consistently in the top 4. I think they finished in the top 4 or 5 each of the last 5 or 6 years now. And so, yeah, Boston, once again, good program. Noah, how's the roster look here for the 25-26 season?
It looks pretty good, and it's stayed pretty much intact. They do lose Miles Brewster, who played 26 minutes a game, and Michael McNair transferred out after playing 29 minutes a game and putting up 10 points per game. But, I mean, so many seniors do return, and, there's pretty good production on this roster that come back from last year. Ben Roy, a senior guard, will probably step into that starting point guard role. He played 24 minutes a game last year. Ethan Akwusa, in his grad year this year, he played 26 minutes a game last season. Kyron Alexander's a junior. He played 30 and a half minutes. Was their, second leading scorer? No, he was their leading scorer with 13 points per game, 5 rebounds and 2 assists per game. Malcolm Chimeze is a graduate senior who's 6'8", playing on the wing there. He played 21 minutes a game last season. Nick Nobili is a 6'10" forward as well, who played 22 minutes last season. And then they have Matai Baptiste, Asmar Abdullah, Otto Landrum, all played over 18 minutes a game last year. Joe Jonas' squad finished dead last in Patriot League's offensive efficiency last season, but BU returns the league's second most minutes from a season ago with the third most experience entering the year, according to Torvik. And the Terriers only lose one starter. They continue, if they continue to play well on the defensive end and move at an old dog's pace, because this is one of the slowest teams, if not the slowest in this conference, while being the best rebounding team in the Patriot League. If they can do all of that, I think there's a really, really nice floor. Last year, they had a really good 10-8 record, and they basically didn't do anything at all on the offensive side of the ball. If they could just improve a little bit, just imagine where they could finish this season.
Oh, for sure. If I remember correctly, last year, I believe that they were one of the, from an efficiency standpoint, they were one of the least efficient offenses in the country. They really struggled with turnovers, and they also really struggled defending the perimeter. Those 2 areas have been an area of, according to what I've been reading from the coach, there's been 2 areas that have been trying to focus on this offseason. If they can address that, I love this roster. I think from an experience standpoint, again, to your point, Noah, it's one of the best in the conference. For a quality standpoint, depth standpoint, if they can suffer they can have an injury or 2, and probably and have pieces step up and step in. The floor is super high here. I can't see them finishing in the lower half of this league, and if everything kind of falls right for this team, I could see them being near the top, if not at the top. So I'm really high on Boston this year, especially early in the season. Again, since it's such a veteran group from a gambling perspective, I do want to be kind of leaning into Boston a little bit where there are opportunities. But yeah, I really like this squad a lot. I think watch out for I'm going to be grabbing a few shares of Boston this once the lines drop.
I'll piggyback off both of your guys' points. Boston has won bye games over the years in the 14 years of Joe Jones, and to Noah's point about the ceiling being high, they've been a top 5 team in their league 13 out of the 14 years Joe Jones has been there. So they had 1 year where they were 8th. I think it was 2018 or 19. They've always been a consistent 2 to 4. They don't usually win it, but they're always right there.
Floor super high, not necessarily.
Agree completely.
Exactly. They're a consistent program, so we know what we're getting with 14 years of sample size with Joe Jones. I'll tell you where else we know what we're getting. That's MyBookie. MyBookie.ag is our promo right here, baby. And make sure you get on over there and place your bet on football, basketball. Build a prop over there, second to none. Their motto is bet on anything, anywhere, anytime. Easy deposit and lightning fast payouts using crypto. We just bet the Army Black Knights over there. Patriot League fans plus 5.5. Sprinkle some on the money line. Head over to mybookie.ag. Use the promo code TCESPN for a 100% deposit match. back bet bonus up to $500 for new customers. That's mybookie.ag. Promo code TCESGPN. We're also brought to you by NoVig. We're also where NoVig is America's #1 sports prediction market. Since NoVig is an exchange, where you're getting some of the best prices in the market. NoVig is available in 35 plus states. Download the NoVig app and get $50 off when you spend $5 if you use our promo code SGPN. Get in on the action with NoVig, promo code SGPN. Couple tongue twisters there.
Yeah, look at our guy Diego Pavia on that ad. I like that one a lot more than
I'm gonna hit up Rosenberg. We gotta get rid of this freaking Arch Manning crap. This is bullshit rhythm. John Griffin, my guy, John Griffin. I love John Griffin. He's doing a great job at Bucknell. He played there. He's Bucknell through and through, man. Great fit. Last year was a breakthrough year. They were in the regular season conference title. We'll talk about Dave Paulsen when we get to Holy Cross. Griffin played for Paulsen at Holy Cross once upon a time when they went to the NCAA tournament. I think multiple times, actually. But, yeah, year 3 of the Griffin era, you see the jump, 18 and 15 last year, and they were good in the non-con. They were chippy in the bye game. So, Griffin and company, this is another program I trust to be solid once again. Noah, what does the roster look like for Coach Griffin here in year 3?
They lose quite a bit. American and Bucknell, both of them really took advantage of their window. Big hat tip to them, and thank you for proving me right. But yeah, Noah Williamson, Patriot League Player of the Year, he is transferred out. I believe he landed at Alabama. He was their 7-footer last year that put up 17.5 points per game, 7.5 rebounds per game in 29.5 minutes. But they also lose 3 other starters. And Josh Basco, who played 36.5 minutes a game last year, almost 16 points per game with 4.5 assists. Elvin Edmonds played 27 minutes a game. And then Ian Mata, also a big contributor here with 24 minutes per game, 10 points per game. He is also gone. He shot 43% from deep last season. Some big pieces, and big, I mean, like in stature. I'm gonna attempt to say it's Grieger, but it could be Gerger. But I think it's Grieger Bursic from Toledo. He's 6'10". He's a junior forward. He only played 9 minutes for the Rockets last year, but this is a guy that they're pretty excited about to be able to possibly emulate what Noah Williamson was able to do last season. And outside of that, they've got some guys that have been in the program for a year plus that'll fill in some of the starting roles. The one guy that does return is Archili Spadone, or it could be Spadoni. He's 6'4" senior wing who played 32 minutes a game last season. He's going to be part of that backcourt in some form or fashion. In John Griffin's first 2 seasons, the Bison have been incredibly balanced, finishing inside the conference's top 4 offensive and defensive efficiencies per KenPound. And Bucknell, they do lose their top 3 scorers, like I mentioned, with last season's offense. But this is a team that had a pretty good rotation, and I have some faith in some of the guys stepping up into the projected starting 5. So I like Bucknell once again. I think they'll be feisty and finish around the middle of the pack, top half of the conference.
Okay. One of the pieces of this roster I really like is their freshman power forward, Amon Doris. He's coming in from Germany, where he actually played in the pro league there. He was, I think, in like whatever the B level is. And apparently, one of the reasons he came is because of the progression of Williamson. He saw how his career progressed and felt that Bucknell was a good fit. Supposedly specifically because of that. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But that's what that's what's been reported. So he's one of the odds-on favorites. Well, if there were odds for freshman of the year, he'd be one of the odds-on favorites for it. So it looks to me like Bucknell is reloaded pretty nicely here. I don't know if they're going to be as strong as they were last year with having the player of the year and the run that they went on. But again, I definitely think another high floor team with I think you could make a case for a high ceiling here too.
I everything we said about American, you almost co-sign it with Bucknell. Griffin and Simpkins have not finished in their 2 years below second place, and last year they tied in their second year for first. So, do we think they both take a little bit of a step back? Yeah, but I kind of just trust the continuity and culture of both these programs to not let the bottom fall out, and they'll probably both finish around 500 in league play and around that 5th, 6th. But the other thing about the Patriot League is there's a shitload of tiebreakers in that league. Like 2 years ago when they all finished for second, it was at 10-8. So it could shake out once again in this crazy league where we could have a bunch of tiebreakers. But yeah, they'll be good. They'll be solid, man. They'll be around 500 in this league in a quote unquote down year from last year's magical year. Next up, the cream of the crop, baby. Matt Langel. Rare year he does not win the league. The Colgate finally was dethroned. They had won the regular season, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times in a row. No 7-peat there. They did finish 3rd last year. First losing season since 2016, 17. This guy's a great coach. Runs a great program. I think everybody on this show knows how good Colgate's been over the years. They used to be dominant. We see John in the chat. Yes, them in Vermont system plays. The system finally was defeated last year as Bucknell and American dethroned them.
Big fashion.
Yeah, but I mean, but the fact that Colgate's been a system play speaks to how dominant he's been over the last 15 years at this place. So great coach, great program. They're going to be good again, though. They're going to be back this year, Noah.
Yeah, they lose 2 starters, but for the first time in 6 seasons, Matt Langel's Colgate Raiders didn't have the league's best offense. Mm-hmm. And like you mentioned, they had won 5 of those 6 years. And they still, even though they weren't the best offense in the league, they still shot the second best 3-point percentage in the conference. And that's where they really, hang their hat on. That's what they hang their hat on and pride themselves on, is kind of like their threat from deep, from beyond the perimeter. And they return, like I said, 3 starters from last year. Brady Cummins is the one that I circle. He's a 6'6" wing who's a senior this year. He's played 24.5 minutes. Last season, shot at 34.5% from deep. And then Parker Jones, who's also a junior wing who's 6'6" and shot at 36.5% from deep. Jalen Cox was the point guard last year. He played almost 29 minutes a game, averaged 4 assists, 4.5 rebounds, almost 12 points per game. The 2 big losses here were Jeff Woodward, who stuffed the stat sheet in plenty of ways, and Nikolai Louis-Jacques, who played 29 minutes a game. He transferred out of Colgate last year. There's always been that one key piece that's hit the portal. There was the one kid that went to Gonzaga last year and then just redshirted out of nowhere. I think it was Braden Smith. But that, Colgate's just last year and then this year they've been the one alpha away, and that's kind of where I'm at. This is a great roster, but I don't know who's going to step up and be that guy, the leading scorer, the one that's automatic from deep, the guy that's going to wear the headband with the curly hair that's just going to be money in March, we've always had from Colgate.
I don't know if they have a guy with the headband and curly hair, but I think they do have a guy who's going to step up. I like Jalen Cox a lot in this roster.
Okay.
I think he's really going to step up in a big way for this team this year. He's going to make a jump, I have a feeling. Other than that, it's Colgate. It's a system play. It's a way. The system is back this year, I have a feeling. I like the roster. I like the depth. It's a lot of guys who've been in the system with the coach for multiple years, so there's not going to be that kind of gap in continuity. I dig this team. I think they're going to do really well, and I think they're going to be, again, super really high floor. And I think just given the success and what we've seen with the program, I think the ceiling is really high too. I love this roster. You can kind of tell where I think where my picks are headed with the way I'm talking about some of these teams. But I think Colgate's they're not going to be outside the top 2 for long in this conference.
Yeah, and Noah, when we did it last year on the Torvik numbers, they were at the very basement of returning production. They're at least in the top half this year. So. And they still finished 3rd last year.
I was just going to say that.
They finished 3rd and they had nobody coming back.
And that was a down year.
Yeah, man. They're probably going to win the league Stay tuned for the end of the show, dude. If they're finishing third in the down year with nobody coming back and everybody else had everything coming back, but Bucknell, American, Army, Navy, everybody was bringing everything back but Colgate, and they still finished third. So yeah, system will be back.
Lehigh, don't forget your pick that won it last year.
my boys from Lehigh.
Yeah, I don't think I actually went in depth on that, but yeah, you picked Lehigh, and then I think you drilled the Bucknell Bison coming out of the tournament. So
I feel like I keep whiffing on my guy Paulsen, man. I love Paulsen. I just love the pedigree, his career. It has been a little bit of a struggle at Holy Cross. Now he did take over a dumpster fire, so they did make a little bit of a jump last year from 10 to 13 wins here. I mean, Paulsen's got over 500 career wins. I guess you could say he's more of a dinosaur and grinder in the business. He's the one that really got Bucknell going back in the day when John Griffin played for him. Made 2 out of 3 NCAA tournaments. Went over to Mason, had a little bit of success. Now he's at Holy Cross. He's a good coach. He is older, but yeah, he's a grinder. So yeah, no. What do you think of the old Crusaders here?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of what you said. This is Greg Paulsen's third season at Holy Cross, and I just feel like he's kind of trying to build a program inside of an era of college basketball that's not friendly to that philosophy inside the mid-major ranks. Holy Cross has had the worst defense in the league in back-to-back seasons, and they just lost 3 starters from last year. At this point, maybe it's addition by subtraction, but at the very least, Holy Cross is now one of the youngest rosters in the Patriot League, and that's just not a recipe for success in mid-major college basketball. They do lose 3 guys that played 25 minutes a game from last year. Max Green portaled out. He played 34.5 minutes, 15 points per game, 5.5 boards, 3.5 assists. Caleb Kenny graduated. He played 27.5 minutes last year, 11.5 points per game, 5 boards. And then Jaden Faroa played 25 minutes a game. He transferred alongside Will Batchelor, Declan McIntyre, and Khalil Singleton. Incoming from the portal is not much, but John St. Germain from D2 Augusta and Will Aljancic from D2 Finley. That's in my backyard. D2 Finley. Both of those guys were scorers where they previously were, so maybe they add an element from the bench here. But a lot of this team is going to be some freshmen from last year or some sophomores from last year now playing big-time minutes. They do return 3 guys that did play 29 minutes or more from last year, and they're all in the backcourt. So that's one thing to really hang your hat on here. Joe Nugent, 12.5 points per game last season, 5 boards. He played 33.5 minutes. And then also Tyler Boston, DeAndre Williams in the backcourt played 30 minutes a game. Boston 4 assists per game, DeAndre Williams 3.5. Pretty good all said and done with a young roster. So that backcourt's something to dream about, but for me, it's a bottom half team for sure.
Yeah, I got a cosign. They lost Max Green. He was one of their leading scorers. I think he was their leading scorer last year as a sophomore. It transfers out to Northwestern. That's a huge loss for this roster. If they could have built around him, I'd feel a lot better about this. About the current roster construction. That being said, I do feel like they've got some nice depth pieces. I want to like this team more than I do. And that kind of tells me that this is a team that I'm probably going to want to fade. Again, good coach. I think his heart's in the right place. I think he's trying to do the right thing to build a program. But Holy Cross has been just a really tough place to win for a long time.
Yeah.
So I definitely see this as low floor, not very high ceiling.
I was going to say, I feel like he could maximize the roster and maybe get to 500. I think, if he got everything out of the roster, 500 in league play is about the ceiling. So, he's a good coach. I worry about him, and we saw Davenport shut it down last year. Just some of these older guys, it's a different era, although the Patriot League is as much a throwback league as you'll get in the country with returning production and just the values of college basketball. But yeah, it's still a different era. I'll tell you where else is a different era. That's Underdog. Underdog is a great place to play fantasy pick'em. Where you can win up to 500 times your entry. Simply pick higher or lower on your favorite stats. Available with a ton of sports. Get on over there to Underdog. Brand new offer for customers that play just $5 and get $50 of bonus funds when you sign up with the sign-up code TCESGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Rhythm has introduced a leaderboard with weekly cash prizes just for tracking your bets in the app. Track 5 bets on the same place, your model. Build so you can win $1,000. Rhythm is off to a great start in college football and the NFL. Head over to Rhythm and use our promo code SGPN25 when download the Rhythm app for 25% off in the first month. Download the Rhythm and use the promo code SGPN25. Next up, we go over to the Leopards. Mike McGarvey headed into year 3 full-time, year 4 when you consider that he took over for 5 games the interim year. He was at Lycoming before that. They did finish. They were in that tied for second in his first official year. He's been at Lafayette for a couple years as an assistant. He also worked for Langel at Colgate. So an interesting year here. Lafayette, I feel like they showed promise at times, but a little bit of up and down. No, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that the bunch last year and the year before really bought into Coach Mike McGarvey. He's led Lafayette to a top 5 defensive finish in each of his 2 seasons, according to KenPom. And in 2024, the Leopards finished tied for 3rd. Last year, I do believe, if I remember correctly, they started to leak a little bit of oil down the stretch of the season. Let me look real quick. They lost 6 of their last 11, which 5 and 6 is not too bad for Lafayette. So maybe it was a different program.
They lost 6 out of 9.
6 out of 9.
Yeah.
So yeah, still for Lafayette and the standards, it wasn't too bad. I really do believe that McGarvey is making good progress at Lafayette, which is saying something. And they played a deep rotation last year. They do lose some production, but it's they had 8 or 9 guys stepping out on the floor consistently, and they really were kind of salty defensively, and that was their strength as a team. So a lot of the offensive production that they lose, I'm really not weighting that as much, if that makes sense to you guys. Alex Chaikin hits the portal. He was their leading scorer from last year, 14 points per game. Justin Vanderbaan is also gone. He left through the transfer portal as well after 30 minutes a game, 12.5 points, 7 boards. TJ Berger, Devin Hines, and Chris Rubio also transfer out alongside Luka Savicevic and Devin Hirschman, who are out of eligibility. But they still bring back 7 guys that played double-digit minutes a season ago, 4 of them that played over 20 minutes last year. And Andrew Phillips, I think he's been a really nice story for Lafayette. A 6'4" junior wing who played 26.5 minutes last season, almost 10 points per game and 5 boards. And he shot at 43% from deep. I think that's a really key piece if they want to unlock a good offense here for the Leopards. So I think they have a good floor with the solid defense year after year so far under McGarvey. I have them kind of in the middle of the pack.
Okay. Right. So they bring back a ton from a team that finished seventh in the conference last year. And I think the arrow is definitely pointed up, but I've really got a question like how sharp that arrow is pointed. I think it's probably like a 30-degree angle as opposed to like a 45 or like a 90-degree angle. They're making progress with the roster. They brought in a really interesting freshman, Sharif Jackson. He's the son of Mark Jackson. He's the A10 player of the year in 96, 97, played a couple years in the NBA. So he's got a bit of a pedigree. My concern there would be if he's really that talented, how long is he going to stick around this program? no offense, but we've seen a lot of the guys come in and look to move on. So that would be my concern there. So there's a chance he might get a run as a freshman. He's definitely got the pedigree for it. That being said, I think they've done a nice job of building roster depth, but I don't think the quality is there that some of the other teams have, some of the other rosters have. So they really, they need, to really get after it. Again, I feel like if they get the most out of this roster, there's a chance that they might finish in the upper half, but I think they're probably more of a middle of the pack team than anything else this season.
I think I agree. I mean, a lot coming back, or a good amount coming back. It feels like a middle tier team here in the Patriot League, so they'll be in the tiebreaker probably.
Maybe.
Wow, year number 19 for Brett Reed. Kind of hard to believe he's been at Lehigh. I mean, once upon a time, CJ McCollum, NCAA tournament, they beat Duke. They have not made the tournament since 2012, which is hard to believe. They usually hang around the middle of the pack. Outside of these last 2 years, the 6th and 8th, so a little bit disappointing the last 2 years, all things considered. But he's been a great coach at Lehigh for a long time, almost 2 decades. Noah, what are we talking with these Mountain Hawks?
Yeah, in my opinion, he's a little bit similar to like a who are we talking about with
Joe
Jones with Boston. He just kind of floats around in the middle of the pack. The ceiling's never too high on a given year, but he's always going to give you a pretty solid season, and that's how I feel about this team once again this year with Lehigh. The Mountain Hawks are solid on both ends of the floor, but don't necessarily excel in offensively or defensively compared to the rest of the pack in the Patriot League. Last year, it really could have been one of their better teams, but it was doomed kind of from the first month and on due to a bunch of injuries.
Yeah.
They lose their 2 star guards and Keith Higgins Jr., who played 33 minutes a game with 18 points per game and 5 boards, and then also Tyler Whitney-Sydney, who played 30 minutes a game, 14 points, 3 boards, 2 assists a game. Cam Gillis also played 30 minutes last season per game. He transferred out, and then you also had Ben Knostman, and then Jashen Seigel out of eligibility here with Lehigh. They bring back 3 guys that played 20-plus minutes a season ago. Nasir Whitlock is going to be probably the guy they turn to for a lot of their scoring production for this season. He played 24 minutes a game last season, 10.5 points, shot at 36.5% from deep. He likes to get it off. And then also Joshua Ingram, who played 26 minutes a game. He's also a pretty good shooter from deep, 36% as well. And then Hank Alvey played 25 minutes a game. He's the starting center that returns. 7 and 5 he averaged last year. Jalen Vasquez is going to play a pretty big role on this team, I feel like. He comes in after transferring in from Pasadena Community College. He stuffed the stat sheet in plenty of ways. He plays pretty good defense, averaged 5 assists a game last year. Was scrappy on the boards as well, with 4 rebounds a game and 8 points per game. There's a couple of freshmen that I feel like could be a little bit feisty on this roster. And then you also have Edouard Benoit, who I think is going to play important minutes in that front court too for the Mountain Hawks. So Lehigh, this is a team that I had trouble kind of placing specifically because, I do respect Brett Reed's tenure because he's consistently put up good year after good year. But I feel like I like a few more teams like true ceiling compared to Lehigh. So that's where I'm at with the Mountain Hawks.
Yeah, it's sad that we're agreeing so much. We'll see if we agree. So when we get to the actual like picks, how we feel the teams are going to shake out. But I kind of feel this is a bit similar to Lafayette, just in terms of I think there's a decent floor there, but I don't know how high the ceiling is. Like if they get everything out of this roster, where do they end up? Like maybe 500, maybe. They do, to your point, Noah, the freshman back, they brought in 3 freshman guards that they seem to like, and Caleb Thomas, Caesar Burrow, and Andrew Arosevich. Apparently they're going to have a rotation with all 3 of those guys, like, playing a role. I kind of like that more for next year than this year, and I kind of think that's what they're playing for at this point. They're looking.
Did we lose Cap?
No, Cap's been talking. You're up.
Did you?
Oh,
sorry.
Yeah.
Let me finish real quick, Mac, and I'll move on. I apologize.
Okay.
Based on the fact that they have the 3 freshmen in the backcourt that will be seeing action, and they're starting 2 sophomores in the front court, kind of tells me that they're looking more towards the future than towards the present for this season.
I heard Cap the entire time.
Yeah, something happened with my computer, but anyway,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, I like Reed, man. He's been a good coach there for a while. Last year, 2 years have been a little disappointing. I kind of think they're going to bounce back a little bit. I'm not saying top 3 or anything, but give me I think I'll probably be higher on them than most.
Okay.
All right.
Josh Loeffler, year number 2 with the Greyhounds. He was good at John Hopkins before that, and then he had a stop with Wes Miller 1 year at Cincinnati. I mean, at John Hopkins, he was 114-27 last year, 12-19. A little bit of a rebuild year with these Greyhounds. Year 2, I expect them to make a little bit of a jump here. Noah, what do you think of this roster?
Yeah, this was the team that I was thinking of. The wheels kind of fell off a little bit late. It was year 1 of Josh Loeffler era at Loyola, Maryland. But the Greyhounds, they lost 7 of the last 9 games after a 5-6 start in conference play. Nonetheless, though, a step out of the basement's a step in the right direction for Loyola, Maryland. Outside of them losing their top scorer from last year, Loyola returns 4 starters and has some good size in the projected rotation. That leading scorer in Milos Ilic, tough to replace. He played 27 minutes a game, 14.5 points per game, 7.5 boards, 3 assists. He hit the transfer portal alongside Matt Gray, Greg Gudinger, Samuel Gibbs, Milos Ilic, and Chris Kuzumka.
Great names.
And then David Brown III graduated. Those 4 returning players, though, Jacob Theodosio, who's the point guard, he took almost 5.5 3-pointers per game, shot it at 32.5% clip, 13 points per game in 31 minutes. And then he's alongside Braden Speed in that backcourt, who's in his freshman year put up 8 points per game, 3.5 boards, 2.5 assists in 30 minutes per game. Tyson Commander, who's a senior, played 27 minutes a game last year. And Jordan Stiemke, who's a 6'5" junior forward who played 29 minutes a season ago per game and almost shot 6 3-pointers per game. So this team has the ability to chuck them up and got to improve on those percentages a little bit because their offensive rating wasn't too great to be launching up 5.5 at a 30-ish% clip. But I'm relatively positive on so far what Josh Loeffler's been able to do at Loyola. So again, I want to, this is why we like the league so much. It's like there's quite a few programs that's going to be really hard to place at that 8th or 9th position in the standings and our predictions. This is one that might end up there for me, but I really like the future outlook for Loyola Maryland this year.
I really got to agree with you with in terms of the placement. This is a hard team to place. Just because I feel like they did go through some growing pains. They also showed that they could compete in this conference last year before the wheels kind of fell off. So that being said, they lost a couple key pieces, and I don't know that they returned enough to kind of fill in. We might be seeing some more growing pains with this roster. They did bring in a trio of non-American guys to kind of bolster their roster as freshmen. Interesting to see how where those guys shake out in terms of the rotation. It's 6'9" forward Emmett Adair, 6'6" forward Sebastian Eminayo, and 6'4" guard Carter Berg McLean. Again, it's always interesting to me when the foreign guys show up at a program like this. Whether they can if they can play, they're usually awesome. If they can't, they're usually pretty mid. So I'm kind of curious to see how this roster shakes out. But in terms of placing it, I got to go bottom half, just based on the history. But I do think the arrow was pointed up in Loyola.
I think this team could make a jump. And by the way, that's a typo. He's 172 and 49, not 149. And he was really good and dominant at Johns Hopkins, a Division II school. So, I think Loeffler and company, I think they make a jump. They're in the top 4 in returning production here in this league. So, yeah, I think Loeffler and company, I think he can coach. I think he's going to get the most out of this roster. I think they could jump into the top half here in 25-26. Final team on the dock. This is an interesting one. So Navy, DeChellis steps down. They make the conference championship. In comes Jon Perry. Jon Perry, if you don't know, has been has been on the staff at Navy since 2013. DeChellis is right
year this year.
Yeah, he's a disciple of DeChellis. He's never called a ball play in terms of being in the driver's seat of running the program, but he's been at his side the entire time. So Navy brings back the most. They were really good last year. Bienick, talk about all this returning production.
Yeah, I'm going to be relatively bullish on the midshipmen this year, which is automatically going to make Mac hate me. But you don't see this around the country in college basketball, but they return all 5 of their starters and 85% of their minutes from last year. Not only is that very impressive at Navy, but in the country, they are the number 1 team when it comes to returning minutes from a season ago. And that's from a team that finished with the league's best defense. So I think this floor is extremely high. And I think they have my favorite player in the league in Austin Benini. I think he's the front runner to win the Patriot League Player of the Year this year. Last year, he played 34 minutes a game, put up 18.8 points per game, 3.5 boards, 4.5 assists, shot at 33.7% from deep. And then Jordan Pennick shot at 34.5% from 3 and was putting them up last year. Jinwoo Kim is a 6'1" junior guard who played 26 minutes a season ago, shot at 40.5% from 3. The front court's a little iffy for me. It's really small. Aiden Kehoe is going to have to really stay healthy, 1, but 2, just kind of stay out of foul trouble because he is one of, I think, 2 guys that are taller than 6'8" on this squad. There's a lot of incomers, like newcomers that didn't play last year that are on the taller side, but I have no idea what they can offer because otherwise this is a really small roster. But return all 5 starters. I love Austin Benini, Jon Perry. So this is the other thing that I feel like you guys, the listeners or you guys that may disagree with how bullish I am on this roster, with Jon Perry being a first-time head coach. I have, just talked about Nolan Smith on the OVC, how I wasn't too high on him being a first-year head coach. But I do believe that, Perry is a little bit more experienced on the tactical side of the college basketball coaching, game. But also I did in college baseball, there were a couple of guys that retired. Randy Mazey at West Virginia retired with their roster in the best possible position for their sidekick, their guy that was going to step up and be the new head coach. And I feel like you couldn't ask for a better starting spot for Jon Perry in an armed forces in a military academy, to be in this spot. So I feel like this is a really high floor team. I have them competing for the title, maybe even winning it. Stay tuned for the end of the show.
Okay. I got a cosign. Jon Perry steps into probably the best situation that he could imagine at a service academy. He's got 2 players who should be all conference, if not competing for the Player of the Year award, in Austin Benini and Donovan Draper. I think they could both be that good, and they could both provide the production that you would need to see from those types of players. Aiden Kehoe really is the key to this team. He's got to stay out of foul trouble and he's got to stay healthy. And if he can do that, they can go really, really far. I would be concerned about them playing matchups against some of the bigger teams in this conference. I don't think it'll be that big of an issue because this really isn't. I feel like this is more of a guard dominant. Oh, that's not true. Last year with Williamson, he was a big that won player of the year and is now playing at Alabama. So I feel like guard play really matters in this conference, as it does every conference, but especially in the Patriot League, just because if you get a dominant big in this conference, it's really just like one or two guys. It's not like every team having 4 dudes who can or 6'10" can jump out of a gym. So I co-sign on the high floor. I think the ceiling is a top 3 finish with a chance to win it all. Yeah, this is a really good roster. It really matters how if Jon Perry can kind of step into that, not just be a tactician, be like an overall coach who can motivate, keep his guy, manage a rotation, and do the X's and O's. If he can do that, they'll go far. If he struggles at the motivation aspect, it's a service academy, so I can't imagine these kids are undisciplined. But even still, it's you got to keep a team together. So I love this roster. I love this team. I'm looking forward to seeing them, and I'm looking forward to betting on them early and often.
Yeah, it's hard to poke holes at this other than just Perry's inexperience. I mean, you look at it, Henderson took over for Otzelberger at South Dakota State, and they kept it rolling. There's been Dutcher for Fisher. In college basketball, college baseball, college football, there's plenty of examples where you bring back the entire team, you promote within, and then it just keeps the continuity and the culture of the program, and especially at a school like Navy. So, yeah, Navy will contend. They'll be right there at the top of the league with all this returning production.
It's not like a cherry-pick replacement that kind of has an okay roster or a first-year head coach jumping into a new place. Like, this is a pretty special and different situation that I feel bullish on.
Yep. All righty. We'll go 1 through 10. We'll start at 10. I hate to do it.
I hate to start at 10.
This is really tough too. There are some teams that are going to fall in that 10, 9, 8 spot that I really feel bad about putting.
Same.
Army's at 10 for me. They have nobody coming back.
Am I next? Is it me?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm not going to do anything different than Mac at this one. It's Army, number 10.
Yeah, sorry. I have Army there too. They just lack a
Sorry,
lot
troops.
of experience.
Troops, I respect you. Thank you all for your service, but
don't fade the troops. Check it out, SJPN store. But the time to quote unquote fade them if you want to is early on in the year, and then back them late.
We're gonna win the conference tournament. At number 9, I got Holy Cross. God, I love Paulsen too. I got both my guys, Kuwit and Paulsen, at the bottom half.
I'm gonna go Lafayette at number 9.
I am going Holy Cross 9th. Just a super young squad, but I really like that backcourt. That's tough.
At
number 8, I got Lafayette. So not much different from you. I need to see it.
Yeah, same. Next, I got Loyola. I got them coming in 8th.
I've got Lafayette 8th. Just all I really can say positively is their defense has been really consistent under McGarvey. So, yeah.
All right, here's a bold one. I got American at 7. But I don't really even know how. Like, all right, I'm gonna say it right now. 2 to 7 or 3 to 7, all within a game. 2 to 7 will be all within a game.
I understand it. I don't think that's how
you said take. The exact same last year, and it pretty much worked out.
It was 3, and then the year before that, it literally was 2 through 9 was separated by a game. So
yeah, I remember both you and I were drooling over the KenPom projection in the preseason too, because everybody in the conference was predicted within 6 games of each other.
It was crazy. So. Yeah, it'll be the same this year.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Number 7 for me is Lehigh.
At 7, I have Loyola, Maryland. They returned 4 starters, which I think that's definitely a positive, but I like quite a few other teams here. But yeah, Loyola, they as a program, they just have to prove to me that they have a little bit of a higher ceiling.
Okay.
I got the other co-champion. I got Bucknell at 6. So I have Bucknell and American taking step backs here. They lost a lot, man.
They
lost.
did. You're not wrong. 6, I have Holy Cross.
Ooh.
Is that bold?
6. I don't think it's bold. I have Holy Cross at 9. Oh, you're saying positively?
Yes, positively.
No, I think there's a top half and a bottom half to the league.
Same.
I would say that. 6 for me, I have Lehigh. They just lack a little bit of depth, and I wasn't high enough on the roster to really put them higher.
Fair enough.
I got Lehigh at 5. I think Brett Reed, they'll take a little bit of a step forward back to that high floor that they had been before these last 2 years. So I got them at 5.
Okay. My 5 is American. So Mac, I don't think 7 is crazy. I've got him at 5. So
yeah, I have American. Actually, I have Bucknell 5th. Just one returning starter for the Bison, but I think there's plenty of growth potential. This is a team that I see playing their better basketball in February and March.
I just trust I trust the Bucknell coach. Like
Griffin?
I think I think that's one of their X factors. He's done so well with that program.
I got Loeffler taking the jump just like Griffin and Simpkins did in year 2. Bringing back all those starters. Yeah, Loyola at number 4 for me.
Yeah, but Griffin and Simpkins in year 1 finished 2nd.
True, but they Loyola was in a good position. They just collapsed down the stretch. I think Loeffler's a good coach.
Yeah,
I trust him. I think he's going to get this program headed in the right direction.
Okay, fair enough. We're at 4. I got Bucknell. That's where I got my Bison.
4, I have American. To me, Duane Simpkins, I like him as a coach as well. He's had a top 3 offense in both years so far, and offense in this league has just won in the last 5 years.
So all 3 of us have a unanimous top 3 with Boston, Navy, and Colgate.
Yep.
Yeah.
I guarantee we have differences on the seating. Maybe no.
At 3, I got Boston, the Terriers with Joe Jones. At 2, I got the Navy midshipmen. At number 1, I got the toothpaste Colgate returning to the top of the mountain.
I've got lock that Mac wasn't putting Navy at 1. So
no way. I'm not putting Jon Perry at 1 over my guys.
He's already circling that money line date. The 2 dates there.
Army's money line live against Navy.
Okay, I have Navy 3rd, Boston 2nd, and Colgate 1st.
Nice.
I have Boston 3rd. They're all outstanding rebounding, but not elite offensively or defensively for me to be too bullish on them. And I do think that they're also a team that's going to be playing their better basketball in February and March with some of the pieces that they have. At 2, I have Colgate, program pedigree, offensive-minded head coach, and a lot of continuity in that program. But for me, Navy, when I see 85% of their minutes are returning, I have to be all in on that just because you don't get that nowadays. All 5 returners return from a team that had the best defense in the league. To me, that screams super high floor, so why not predict them to win the conference?
Okay. Right.
Sleeper. This one shouldn't be as bad as the OVC that we recorded a couple hours ago. Your top 3 from last year were Bucknell, American, Colgate. Choose a new team that's going to finish in the top 3 out of Navy, BU, Army, Lafayette, Lehigh, Loyola, or Holy Cross.
Is Boston all our sleepers?
I'll say Navy.
Yeah, I like Navy too.
Loyola's kind of a sleeper for me to go into the top 4.
Yeah. We're just waiting on those preseason media polls to really kind of narrow this down and help us with the sleeper busts and make it more challenging. But for the bust, one of Bucknell, American, Colgate, who's going to have the bottom fall out of them? Again, we're not necessarily predicting that, but
who's going to go 8 and 10? That's the bottom fall, or maybe 7 and 11. Lose a bunch of 1-score games. I'll go American because they won a bunch of 1-score games last year.
I'll say American just because I feel like they lost the heart of that team. It's a lot to replace for a team like that.
I will go Bucknell. When I feel like you had a player that was so dominant like a Noah Williamson compared to the rest of the league, I wonder what's going to happen there, and if somebody's going to be able to step in and kind of dominate over the smaller league like he did. So yeah, that's going to be Bucknell, my bust-ish pick. Who wins the tournament?
Boston.
Bucknell. They got upset last year. They're gonna go on a magical run this year. I like taking the year after the year with the conference tournament. Say no pressure coming there. Team get better. They're playing hot. They'll make some shots in the tournament. Give me the Bison.
You should pick Colgate then. Though.
I guess. Yeah,
Colgate's had the year after the year. They ran it for 6 years.
I'm going with Colgate. A down year for Matt Langel was a third place finish in this league. And I will say, last year he had basically nothing returning. He had an entire year to work with those guys, and they finished 10-8 in the league after a really bad non-conference. And then afterwards, another, 12 months working with these guys. I feel like February, March, they're going to be ripe, prime Colgate.
I can see it.
Raiders.
Ride it. All right. Preview number 3 down, the Patriot League. Turn on notifications. I don't know which one's next. We just take it one day at a time. So go check out the NEC. Go check out the OVC. Go check out the weekday preview picks. Tomorrow night, 9:00. We'll have the marathon show. Then we'll break down all of Saturday's games, and then we'll also do the FCS on Friday. We will also have a college basketball preview tomorrow at 7:00. Just we don't know which one yet, so yeah, we're on top of it over here. So yeah, baby, we're rocking, baby. 32 to get 32. We're gonna get done. We got 3 down and 29 to go, baby. So go check out Cannabis Capper at Cannabis Capper. Go check out Noah Bienick at Noah B77 _, and I'm at Moneyline _Mac. We are the college basketball experience. Cheers, everybody. Enjoy it. The season's coming. And
Clark,
we are at it.
He's asking about SWAC. We got to get those rosters filled out, man.
Yeah.
Missouri Valley State's only got like 5 players.
Trust me, we would have done the SWAC and MEAC.
Mac wanted to.
I wanted to do it.
We did the NEC.
I was like, no.
We did the NEC, and Chicago State still doesn't have a roster.